Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Sunday concert here at the Presidio. And I'm Reverend Jerry Caprio. I'm the Executive Director of the Interfaith Center. And I want to welcome you specially today because this particular concert is our observance of the Interfaith Harmony Week, which is being observed all around the world. And Interfaith Harmony Week is usually on the first week of February. And in 2010, it was King Abdul of Jordan who urged the General Assembly of the United Nations to establish interfaith harmony resolution in order to encourage people to work together and to begin to heal the wounds that have sometimes risen between religions and cultures and religious traditions. And so I would just like to very briefly share just one or two of the sentences from the resolution. Recognizing the imperative need for dialogue among different faiths and religions and to enhance mutual understanding, harmony, and cooperation among people. Recognizing that the moral imperatives of all religions, convictions, and beliefs call for peace, tolerance, and mutual understanding. Reaffirming that mutual understanding and interreligious dialogue constitute important dimensions of a culture of peace. Proclaims the first week of February every year the World Interfaith Harmony Week between all religions, faiths, and beliefs. And lastly, encouraging all states to support, on a voluntary basis, the spread of the message of interfaith harmony and goodwill in the world's churches, mosques, synagogues, temples, and other places of worship during that week, based on love of God, love of one's neighbor, and love of the good, each according to their own religious traditions and convictions. With that as a preliminary, I'd like to introduce the Interfaith Center's composer in residence, Dion Nielsen Price, who was going to introduce the program for us. And so I invite Dion to come forward now. Thank you, Dion.
I'm so thrilled to be here in the chapel again and to see all of you here. This is just about the right size crowd for us all to be safe in this room. So welcome. 2 years ago now, I telephoned Maria Mendieta, who was very, very busy harpist in the San Francisco area and actually around the world. And you can read about her in the program. And she was all set to do a concert. I was so excited to have the harp in this chapel with its wonderful acoustics. And then suddenly we were not having any live concerts here. So after a couple of months delay, she was the first of our Zoom concerts, and we did 15 of them. But that first one, we had a lot of technical issues we had to work out. It was wonderful, but it wasn't in the chapel. So I'm so thrilled that she is here today. So I telephoned her to see if she could make February 13th, and she looked at her calendar. She said, well, on the 12th, she is going to be an entertainer for the NFL VIP brunch in the morning. And in the evening, she's going to play solos with the the Sacramento Symphony. On the 13th, it looks clear. so she's here. But she's a very, very busy woman. And I will tell you more about her music for the second half later. But please welcome Maria Mendieta.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dion. And thank you to the Interfaith Chapel, the Interfaith community for having me. I'm really excited to be here. And it's wonderful to see all of you here in the chapel as a live audience. We are so grateful to have a live audience. As musicians, that was something that was so missing as a part of our lives during the pandemic. And so we appreciate you so very much. So thank you so much for being here. I thought what might be really fun would be to have a program that would cover many different styles. And so just to kind of transition from the beginnings of the harp to the more modern and the most contemporary music, I'd like to begin the program going back in time. Now, as many of you have probably guessed, the harp is one of the oldest instruments that we have. And believe it or not, every country wants to claim that they've invented the harp, but in reality, nobody knows for sure. But we do know that the harp dates way back. Of course, King David in the Bible played the harp. There were paintings of harps in the pyramids of Egypt. There were even, in the ruins of Mesopotamia, there were harps discovered there. But it wasn't until really fairly recently, about 40, 50 years ago, that something was very amazing, an amazing discovery, and this was in the ancient cave paintings in France. In the ancient caves of France, they found in the paintings something that looked like man using a bow, a hunter's bow, for an instrument. And this confirmed the theory that it was the hunter's bow that gave man the idea, the sound of that twang as he pulled his bow to hunt. He heard that sound and it gave man the idea of adding more strings and creating an instrument. Well, back in time, the harp was indeed shaped like a bow, and in the pyramids it looks like that. But as time went on and as the harp developed, it became a more unique instrument. Now, during the medieval and Renaissance period, harpists were known as harpers, and they strapped their harps across their backs, and they would travel from town to town, village to village, telling the news of the day. And I'd like to play for you a piece that was very popular during that time period. This is Greensleeves. Thank you very much. Thank you. The next piece is a sonatina by Johann Dussek. Just a little bit of trivia. Going back in time, the harp, as we know, it was very, very simple to begin with, but as it developed, it needed to have the ability to play in other keys, as the other instruments could. At first, the harps were made with levers and hooks above the strings, where the harpist would have to either raise the lever or put the string onto the hook. But that got to be cumbersome. So there were many different inventions created on the harp, and one was the invention of the pedals. The pedals change the key. This allows the harp to play in many, many different keys, and you may not be able to see it at home, but we have 7 pedals behind the harp, 7 pedals for the 7 notes of the scale. So whatever key I'm playing in, I set the pedals in a certain pattern, and then I'm ready to begin the piece. But there's a catch. I only have 2 feet, so I can move only 2 pedals at the same time, but we have to be really, really quick about it. So what we do is basically prepare ahead of time where those pedals are and rhythmically keep a track and change them right on time. Well, the pedals were invented in the late 1700s. And Marie Antoinette was a harpist, and she had a special harp built for her that was made of glass, so that when she played, she could entertain the guests with all the mechanical workings of her harp. So this piece is a popular piece from that time period, and we do know, that she did play music by Johann Dussek. So this could have been one of the pieces that she played. This is the sonatina. Thank you very much. This next piece is a favorite of mine. It's by Claude Debussy. It's entitled En bateau, which means in the boat. Now, as you know, Debussy is an Impressionist composer, and the composers during that time period followed really along the same lines as the Impressionist artist of the day. And so with the artists, as you would take a look at a painting, they painted with swashes of color. And if you got up close to the, maybe from up close from the painting, you really couldn't tell what the figures were until you took a step back, and then the figures would come to life. Well, it was the same thing with music. The composers painted with tonal colors, presenting scenes, images, and stories. This piece, En bateau, was about a boat floating along a river in France. And so when you listen to the music, I want you to just imagine the sway. You'll feel the sway of the boat from side to side. And then as the music progresses, you'll hear how the boat approaches rockier waters, and you'll almost feel the bounce of the waves through the music. And then listen very carefully, because at the end, that's when the boat returns to calmer waters. And you'll hear that in a very descriptive way through the music. Ladies and gentlemen, En bateau by Claude Debussy. Thank you. Thank you very much. As the harp developed, it fascinated composers, and one of those composers was Carlos Salcedo, who was a very prominent pianist, conductor, and he saw the harp, and this was in the early 1900s, and he saw the harp as an instrument that really had a lot of potential, but yet had not been recognized. So he took it upon himself to explore the instrument, and as he did, he fell in love with the instrument and discovered new ways to play the harp and a new technique of playing. So at that time, he actually ended up composing a piece that would be used to demonstrate all the different techniques that could be created on the harp. But that one piece actually woke up other composers to also write for the harp. So now there are many, many wonderful explorations with techniques and sound effects from the harp. But in that time period, in 1927, it shocked audiences because it had the harp doing things no one had expected it to do. The piece is called Chanson de la Nuit, which means song in the night. And before I play, I'll give you a few things to look for as I play. Now, most of the time, I play the harp right in the middle of the strings to give it a very warm tone. But sometimes, Salcedo has the harpist play down by the sounding board, which will give it a very crisp guitar-like tone. So listen. Can you tell the difference? Yes, definitely. Another technique is the harmonic. A harmonic sounds like a bell. Another technique is the glissando, and that's probably the most famous technique, the most famous sound effect created on the harp. The glissandos create the beautiful lush sound, creating stardust and waterfalls and so forth. Definitely used for many movies. Well, Salcedo changes that too, and he has the harpist play with the fingernails, and he enjoyed calling that the falling hail effect. So listen. So the piece is full of lots of surprises, and I don't want to give them all away, so you will have to watch very carefully, because even the hand gestures were a part of the performance, a part of the expression of the piece. So here we go. Chanson de la Nuit. It'll have a long intro, and just wait for the wonderful Latin rhythms in the middle. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. For Valentine's Day, I thought it would be so appropriate to play a love song. But why not play a love song that was invented, created, and composed by a harpist? His name was Robert Maxwell. He was a very popular composer during the 1950s and 60s. It was a fascinating person. He became the youngest harpist to play with the National Symphony Orchestra. Well, he was discovered, came over to California on the other side of the United States and started composing for popular ballads and medleys. And one of the most popular pieces that he composed was Ebb Tide. Thank you very much. We're going to just take a brief break. Is that right, Dion? Okay, there we go. I'll leave it to you. Okay, thank you.
We are so privileged to be able to enjoy such artistry, such beautiful music. It's overwhelming. And I'm so thrilled that we can hear it here in the chapel again. This is the fourth program that we've done since we're back in the chapel. The first one was organ. We had the organ tuned. It's magnificent. And then we had a wonderful pianist who happens to be here tonight, William Corbett Jones, and he played a beautiful program. Then we had a fine singer from Wales who was on tour and came and performed for us. And now today we have Maria Mendieta, who is really exquisite, in my opinion. And next month, I wanted to tell you while I have the floor, put on your calendar to come on March 20th. We have a beautiful operatic soprano, a wonderful flute player, a countertenor who has sung here before, and I'm going to be accompanying him, and another pianist who will be playing in the ensemble. They will be doing songs which I have composed, some recent, some over the years. But we're excited to come, and we will be doing a recording session here the following day. So this is a project. Now, I wanted to tell you about the music after the intermission today. If I can get it on my phone here. What began years ago as a new vision for harp and tango, Maria Mendieta, her project has blossomed into a multimedia touring concert show, and it's called Tango del Cielo, Tango of Heaven. When she is not playing the harp, she has an ensemble she plays with, and when she's not playing on the harp, she's dancing. So she gets up and, So it was a historic event when the League of American Orchestras selected to review the success of a world premiere of a concerto no one thought possible, making history as an American harpist. Maria Mendieta proved the impossible and performed Astor Piazzolla's intensely chromatic and percussive Argentine tango, music for which she is now famous. She has an award-winning album, Tango del Cielo, Tango from Heaven, for harp and orchestra, featuring the music of Piazzolla. This album has won 8 international awards, including 4 Global Music Awards. She's reached 2 million on the Billboard's classical things, and I just lost it on my phone. She has brought some of her CDs, the audio CDs, and I want you to look at the table there. She has quite an array of things she brought. But the Tango del Cielo is there, and I knew this came out a while ago, and I've been wanting to get one, so I bought the first one. But there are some more copies and some other things. Now, there's a little card, I don't know what you call it. It looks like a credit card size. It is and look at it. It is the Tango del Cielo with video and audio. It is a USB You put it into your computer and you can see the whole thing as well as hear it. So that's quite exciting. So we'll take 10 minutes to air out the building and open the doors, and then come back and we'll hear some Piazzolla and some of her tangos. Here.
Well, thank you so much. Before we start the second part of the program, which will feature Argentine tango and flamenco and Spanish classical music, I'd like to begin just a little bit to give you a little bit of background. Astor Piazzolla is probably the most famous Argentine tango composer, but it wasn't always that way. When he began, he was a bandoneon player, and he played for the orchestras, and he won a composition contest and studied with Ginastera, Alberto Ginastera, and then developed his skills as a classical composer. His family also spent some time living right next to a jazz club in New York for a short period of time. But when he was back in Argentina, he continued to play his tango music and continued with his compositions, and he won an award to study with Nadia Boulanger in France. And when he did, he kept it a secret that he played the bandoneon. He kept it hidden. And so he was a very serious student. And then one day, on a break, he pulled out his bandoneon and he played for Nadia Boulanger. And when she heard him play, she was so taken back by it, she said, "Astor, that is your voice. From now on, you should incorporate the tango in all that you do." So he did that, and when he returned home, guess what? His own country didn't accept him and didn't accept his music. In fact, believe it or not, there was even a contract out on his life because he was changing the style, changing the tradition of tango music. So he continued to compose, it didn't stop him, and it was really the rest of the world that fell in love with his music. And when Argentina saw that, then they began to accept him, and to the point that actually the government paid for him to compose every week and perform in the plaza every week. So he then became one of the best, most beloved composers, and a very successful one at that. He passed away in the 1990s, but he left us incredible music. And this piece that I'm going to start this half of the program with is called Introducción al Ángel, which means introduction to an angel. And the person who helped me with creating this arrangement was Pablo Ziegler, who was Piazzolla's pianist for 10 years. And after Piazzolla had passed away, Pablo Ziegler carried the torch and continued with expanding tango music. And in 2006, he had just won the Grammy Award for the Best Tango Album. And that's when I was lucky enough, really, it was an incredible gift to be able to meet him. And I explained what I was doing with tango music. I fell in love with the music back way in the early 2000s, actually. And when I started looking for music for the harp, I couldn't find anything anywhere. In fact, when I'd ask, people would laugh at me. They would say, "You can't play tango music on the harp. Can't be done. It's too chromatic. It's too this, too that." Well, when someone tells me I can't do something, that just motivates me even more to try to make it happen. So I explained to Pablo what I was doing, and he was fascinated with the project. And so he took me under his wing, and we started working on more tango music together. And this particular piece was his first arrangement for the harp in a very serious manner in this way. And it was very, very exciting to work on this piece with him. The story about the angel is Astor Piazzolla was asked to create the music for a tango ballet. And the story was about an angel that came down from heaven to the city of Buenos Aires to cleanse and purify the city. And this piece was the piece that was composed to set the scene, set the atmosphere for the entire ballet. I hope you enjoy it. Next is a beautiful piece that was famous on the guitar. It's Asturias by by Albanese, Isaac Albanese. And originally, when I heard this on the guitar, I thought it would be ideal for the harp, and it really is. It's a beautiful piece, and it's on the album with some interesting percussion and lots of happenings with also a flamenco dancer, a live flamenco dancer on the album. So I would love to share that with you, and I encourage you to listen to the album afterwards, either on Spotify or online, or we're selling them here today too. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Next piece is by Astor Piazzolla again. And instead of a tango, this is a sacred piece. And this is a beautiful hidden treasure not many people know about. It was composed originally for a movie about Henry IV, I believe. And then Piazzolla took it from the movie and retitled it the Ave Maria, and it's really a beautiful, beautiful piece and just works so well for the harp. I hope you enjoy it. One of those times where I have to explain. If I don't have the pedals set before I start, I'm in a different universe. So I have to make sure that I've got the pedals in the right key before we start. So take 2. Don't. Oh, you know what? If you do that, the harp may go out of tune. Well, go ahead and try. I think we'll be okay for 2 more pieces. Okay, no problem, no problem. The harp is so sensitive to temperature change, just like any other instrument. But the main difference I always have to be careful of is that instead of a violin, cello, who have just 4 strings, I've got 47 strings on the harp that I have to keep track of. And so harpists always have to arrive much earlier than the other musicians in order to tune and have the instrument acclimate. And I can almost tell when it's about to rain just from the tuning of the harp. And so it's really fascinating. Is it all set? Okay, fantastic. Here we go. Ave Maria by Astor Piazzolla. Thank you very much. For the last two pieces, they do connect in that they're both from Spain. Tientos was composed by Raúl Lapara. It was actually originally composed for a harp that was called a chromatic harp. It was invented, the harp itself was invented in the 1500s by Spain and a Spanish inventor, and it was to eliminate, well, basically it was a way of trying to create chromatics on the harp. And so with that type of harp, it was actually a harp that had two rows of strings that crisscrossed in the middle. So one side was white, the other side was black. So it kind of resembled the colorings of a keyboard. Well, the harp itself didn't last very long, but the music did. And this beautiful piece is called Tientos, which is a play on words meaning temptations. It's also a very particular flamenco style, Tientos. And so Raúl Lapara and I took this piece and together with one of my teachers a long time ago, we created an arrangement for the pedal harp. Here we go. And you know what? I'm going to go right into the final piece, which is Malagueña right after that. So thank you, all of you, for being here today. Thank you, all of you at home, too. You've been a wonderful audience. I appreciate you all very, very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're such a wonderful audience. Appreciate it. How about something from Latin America? Something peppy, something appropriate for Valentine's Day. This is Frenesí. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.